Hello, millionaires. Welcome to the Millionaire Money Podcast, episode 7. Today, we're going to be talking about the one thing you cannot afford to ignore when building wealth, and that is your money mindset. Stay tuned. All right, everybody, let's get into the conversation. So today, like I said, we're going to be talking about the one thing that you cannot afford to ignore if you're actually serious about building wealth, which is your money mindset. And now you guys already know we've had an episode about why money matters. We've had an episode about just many different elements of the foundation of that decision to build your first million or 100th million dollars. And I just wanted to continue taking it step by step through the foundational principles that you guys need to understand and really receive in order to give yourselves permission to build wealth. And so today I wanted to talk about your mind and how that relates to money and how that relates to giving yourself permission to receive at a level that you have not received at in the past. And I wanted to kick off this episode with a Bible verse, actually, that I have really loved over the years. This is a verse that says, "Do not be conformed to this world, but instead be transformed by the renewing of your mind." Now, that is a verse that I have memorized and quoted year after year and year. And I never, ever understood how practical that verse was when I first understood it. I remember quoting that verse and being like, we need to be transformed by the renewing of our mind. And to me, it was this spiritual principle that I wanted and I would pray for, God, renew my mind, but it never really materialized into how practical this thing can be when you actually decide to be transformed by the renewing of your mind. There's another Bible verse that says something like, be renewed by the spirit of your mind. Be renewed on the external. You get to be renewed because your mind is renewed. And there's a third verse, and I know I'm kicking this one off with a bunch of Bible verses, but guys, this is the way that I process this stuff. And so there was this verse that said, "And you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free." And it just as I'm going to explain the process, I'm going to explain what this means with building wealth and getting your first million or your 100th million. But when I started to learn and grow in this area specifically, guys, these verses blew up for me, because what I started to understand, just even this last verse of "you will know the truth and the truth will set you free," was I started to understand that yes, there's the big ultimate eternal truth that you need to know to be set free. And there are many, 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 many other areas that the devil and your mind tries to lie to you in that can actually keep you stuck your entire life if you don't know the truth in order to be set free. I'll give you guys an example. And this episode, I have so many practical examples of how to implement this type of a transformation for your mind and what that looks like in your practical life. So I remember this was early 2019, late 2018, the December of 2018. I had gone into a solitude retreat. So I do these retreats where I go off by myself in total silence, solitude, and just pray and seek God and get fed and grow ready for the next year. So it was December of this year. And I remember going away as usual. And in this retreat, I know something just came to mind. And it was just a little observation. I observed that at that point, my financial coaching company was only coaching women. And I didn't think there was any problem with it. There's obviously a lot of businesses that only service women. And actually, when I had made the decision to only work with women in the beginning of my coaching company, I thought that it was coming out of this place of just, I really understand woman to woman language and blah, blah, blah. Little did I know, y'all. Okay. So this thought comes to mind while I'm at that retreat. And the question that I think God just put in my heart was, Why am I not mostly, at that point I was only serving women? Why do I only serve women in my business? And I come up with all my logical answers around, well, I understand the conversation with women and I'm a woman and da da da. But I also am in this retreat. So I know that usually when I'm in a retreat and he brings up a conversation, there are some deeper layers that he's wanting to go into. So I'm just like, hey, I'm open. What do you want to show me here? And he reminds me, y'all, of a conversation that I had 4 years before 2018. So this is now like, take it back to 2014. And back then I ran a Christian ministry, and I remember we had men and women working together, and we were doing, in fact, I think back then we had more men in the program, like in our process, than women. And we didn't think about it. Like, I never even thought about it. It wasn't a thing to me. It was just, hey, we're working together. We're bringing impact to people. We're serving the homeless. We're playing music. We're ministering. We're traveling. We're doing all this stuff. I wasn't thinking men, women, blah, blah, blah. And I remember in that season, I had a conversation with this guy, and he wanted to argue with me. So it was an argument from his perspective. It was a conversation from my perspective. For him, he had a real big issue with the fact that as a woman, like, I was in charge of this work that we were doing, and there were men involved. And this isn't going to be me going into some sort of like tirade and all of that. I just want to explain the power of what your mindset can do without you even noticing it, okay? So this dude goes off with me for a long conversation that I really am not even interested in, about why I did not have I was not qualified to lead this group of people because I am a woman, and because there were men in the process, in the program, as leaders and all of that. And I remember in the conversation, I disagreed with him. And I told him my reasoning around it. And I was just like, this is silly. Like, look at what we're doing. Look at the work we're doing. Look at the people who are being impacted. Nobody is out here going, you're a man, you're a woman, you're allowed, you're not allowed, you can't preach and you can, and blah, blah, blah. So, and I show him all these scriptures of women in the Bible who have done all these things. So my logical brain, guys, understood why I was doing things the way I was doing things, and I was like in full alignment with what I was doing when I had this conversation. I share all these Bible verses, and he finishes the conversation, and I think nothing of this conversation because I went back to like the work that we were doing. And I was just like, this random dude that wanted to just argue with me, okay, cool. I did not notice that after that conversation, it wasn't until 2018, y'all, in this retreat, that I'm thinking back to it, and I realized that after that conversation, even though my logical brain disagreed with what this guy had said, my subconscious brain received it and carried it and believed what he had said. I am not qualified to lead men because I am a woman. And over the next couple of years, I literally phased out guys participating in our program, guys being in the leadership in the program, and it became a woman-run, women-only ministry, guys. I didn't even see the connection, because your logical brain will always give you reasons to justify the decisions that you're making, even though it's based on your subconscious brain. And now, don't worry, I'm going to get to the money, and I'm going to talk about financial examples of what I've seen in clients, but I want you to start to see what happened. So now I'm only ministering to women primarily, and with women on the team. And I didn't think anything of it. I started a business, and I'm now running a financial business. I'm teaching debt freedom sessions. I'm teaching financial empowerment sessions. I was doing workshops, all these things, and I was only talking to women. And God starts just showing me that one of the reasons, so I thought logically the reason I was only running my business to women was because I understood their language, but he started showing me how the deeper subconscious belief that was running that decision that I didn't even think about was this belief that because I am a woman, I am not qualified to lead when men are in the room. And so what happens, he like opens my eyes in this conversation in my personal retreat, and he's just like, yes, you logically disagreed, but you still gave room to his beliefs in your life, and now here you are running a financial business. Y'all, I'm not even doing like a health business where maybe, okay, the bodies are different, body types are different, or anything. I'm doing a money business. And I didn't accept guys into the program. It's like having a bank and turning a man away just because the CEO of the bank is a woman. Like, do you guys see how illogical that level of reasoning is? And at that point in 2018, we had already had like, I don't even know how many guys come to me and say, Toyin, I am the sole breadwinner in my home. We are struggling. Do you teach guys? And because all my stuff was like, all my marketing had women's pictures and stuff. And they're like, do you teach guys? And I'd be like, no, we don't. And it was just like, I think back to it and I'm like, oh my gosh, like that doesn't even make any logical sense. And so obviously Jesus talks to me in that retreat and he clears out that mindset. I do my money mindset shift process. I let go of all of the limiting beliefs that were related to that conversation. I come out of that retreat in December. January 2019, I was like, the doors are open to everybody. Anybody is able to get coached in Toyin Crandell coaching. Great. Do you know that the very next conversation I had, the very next person who actually booked to speak to me in 2019 after I made the decision is a guy? And do you know what this dude said at the end of the call? So he doesn't even know that I have just gone through this process of like accepting that I am able to lead and bring its value. You can bring your value to anybody that needs that value. And I am speaking to this dude, and he ends the call with like, because he was like, we're going to work together. Thank you so much, Toyin. Thank you. This is exactly what I've been praying for. And he says, I don't care what like, I didn't say anything about me being a woman, guys. But he just says spontaneously, I don't care what color your hair is. I don't care whether you're a guy, whether you're a woman. Like, you have the answer that I've been praying for. And I just internally, I laughed because I was like, wow, like this dude doesn't even know that that is the entire conversation I was just finished having with God. So can you guys understand that I was literally talking to 50%? Today, we have tons of men who have come through our process, changed their lives, serving their families, loving their families, all of that stuff. Could you imagine how many guys would not have had their lives change because I had this one limiting belief that because I am a woman, I didn't have the permission to teach men how to get better with their money. And I just remember thinking to myself when this realization hit me, oh my gosh, this is the power of one false money mindset. So guys, if you are serious about building wealth, if you are serious about getting to that $1 million mark, building and multiplying the millions you have, and you are ignoring this part of the conversation, you are ignoring the conversation around what your brain is thinking about money. What are those conversations that you have had in the past? What are the beliefs that you have around money? Because that's just so like out there. Who cares? Let's just focus on the strategy. And if I get the right strategy, you don't even know how much you are currently limiting yourself. I remember we had worked with a woman. She was 65 years old when she came to us, and all of her life she had struggled financially, all of her life that she could remember. And she's going through our money mindset shift process, and the first thing we do is we bring up all the limiting beliefs you have about money. And I remember when she finished that first part with the limiting beliefs, the thing that came up, like a bunch of stuff always comes up, but the biggest one that came up for her was one sentence that her teacher said to her when she was 12 years old, guys. And she is talking to us almost in tears. And she's just like, I cannot believe that for the last 53 years of my life, I have lived under that one sentence that one teacher casually said to me. And she's like, I didn't even know or think or realize that my mind, everything else that I've been doing has been shaped by that belief. And now let's get more into like the money, because that all of these are money examples, because how you affect your business, how you run your business affects your financial situation. The beliefs you have your entire life affects your financial situation. I remember another client where it was a couple, and they had been deeply disappointed about money. Like, they had been manipulated and cheated in their business financially earlier in their years. They were in their 60s. I think it had happened like 30 years before that when they came to work with us. 30 years before, they had gone through this financial trauma where someone had cheated them. And when they came to us, the mindset was, money brings drama, right? Money brings trauma. Money is hard. Money causes pain. And when they had that mindset of money causes pain, can you guess what they did? They pushed money away. So they're running businesses, and she was working, but they were earning like so little because money to their brain was dangerous, because through money, somebody else had hurt them in the past 30 years before they came to speak to us. And so I could tell you guys story after story after story, because whatever you believe will actually determine the decisions that you make in your career. And the scary part is, your logical brain is going to tell you this is normal, this is what you want, this is just because blah, blah, blah. It's going to give you a logical reason for the illogical action and decisions that you're making. That's what our brain likes to do. It likes to make sense of things. I'll give you guys one more example. One client came to us, and she was in a career, and I remember she was being underpaid, like ridiculously underpaid, like unbelievably. And I spoke to her, and I'm like, girl, how are you settling to be paid this much for the amount of work that you're doing? Like, it was just so obviously ridiculous. And what she said to me was, well, you know what, Toyin, I really feel like I am on a mission here, and I really feel like the Holy Spirit, sent me here to serve and influence the atmosphere, and like, this is the position that I've received, and it's okay. So I didn't argue with her. I was like, okay, that's cool. If you've decided that, this one thing you don't want to let go of, but you do want to scale your income, I'm thinking we'll focus on some of the other ways that she can raise her income at that point. So I'm like, okay, cool. Let's go through your money mindset beliefs. Let's clear whatever the roadblocks are so that you can receive through whatever other avenue comes up that we can use in your life based on your skills and what you have in your hand. So she's like, cool. So we go through this process of just bringing her limiting beliefs about money to the surface. And I wasn't very surprised. She was. One of the biggest beliefs that she had was that she didn't deserve to receive. Like, so her sense of like value, her sense of self-worth was a lot lower than what she logically thought it was. And when she was finally in this place of genuinely being very honest with herself, we ask a ton of questions. We ask you a ton of questions to get to like, what are your limiting beliefs about money? So when she's answering these, she was like, oh my gosh, the biggest thing is this, like, I don't deserve to make money. I don't deserve to receive. And so when she exposes this mindset, this limiting belief she had about money, all of a sudden, y'all, she realized that voice that had always told her, this is all you can get, you can't ask for any more, you can't go anywhere else, no one else is gonna hire you. You're just giving, you're just serving here, and it's okay for you to serve here. I'm not saying that you guys aren't allowed to serve in places that maybe underpay you. There are jobs, there are places, like I volunteer, I've done certain jobs, even while I am a millionaire, I've done certain jobs that I know is not paying me like for my time. It's like volunteering, and I'm like, this is totally fine. I'm doing this because I love it, because I want to serve in this place. So please hear what I'm saying and what I'm not saying. I'm not saying you're not allowed to work and not be paid, okay? That's fine. But if you're going to do it, then you better be fully aware of what's happening and why that is actually happening. So in her case, this belief comes to the surface and she is like, OMG, that voice has actually been the voice of not enough. I don't deserve. So what does she do? We discover it, and I gave her homework like that day. This was literally like all within her first week. I'm like, your homework right now is Monday. This is like a Saturday evening. We had the conversation. I told her Monday morning, what I need you to do is you are gonna go and you're gonna ask for a raise, and this is how this is how you're gonna frame the conversation, all of that stuff. So like we coached her on the how. But normally we don't even tell people to ask for the raise in the first week. But this was so ridiculous that I was like, girl, first homework, now that you've at least shifted and identified this belief, is you're gonna go and you're gonna ask for a raise. And so she shows up at her workplace, same job, and she just asks her boss, hey, can we talk? And they have that raise conversation the way that we trained her to do that. And she calls me 30 minutes later and she's like, oh my gosh, Toyin. Oh my gosh. Toyin, they just gave me a $12,000 raise out of a 30-minute conversation. Like it wasn't, she's like, it was like I didn't even have to really ask. Like I just said it and they were like, oh yeah, you should. It's like everybody in the picture knew. Like guys, it was like they knew she had been underpaid. For how long? She had been working there for years. And she sees it and they're like, yep, done, $12,000 more. And so she calls me and she's just like, oh my gosh, the rest of the time, everything else is profit. Like, what else can I do? What else is possible? And so I just want you to understand that your mind can actually tell you things to hold you back and then justify those beliefs with whatever your frame of the world is to make it okay. That's the scary part. Like you can actually make decisions out of fear. And we did a whole episode about fear-based decision making. You can make decisions out of fear. You can make decisions out of shame. You can make decisions out of guilt. And your mind will tell you, no, this is your guiding voice. This is the voice of God, or this is the voice of the Holy Spirit, or whatever it is. And it's like, you can only hear through the lens that you have placed on your mind. And this is why it is so critical to understand your own subconscious thinking and to be in a place where you can hear when your own mind is limiting you. There's this quote, I forget who said it, but it's something like, watch your thoughts because your thoughts become your words. Watch your words because your words become your actions. Watch your actions because your actions create your habits. And watch your habits because your habits becomes your character. And watch your character because your character determines your destiny. Guys, everything starts in your mind. Everything starts in your mind. Before you can say a thing, you had to have thought that thing. And a lot of people, like, I'll give you a practical example. There's this Bible verse that says, as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. So the way you are currently showing up in the world is determined by the thoughts that are going through your mind today, right now. Every single thing starts in your mind. When someone makes the decision to have an affair in a marriage, it's not because they woke up one day all of a sudden decided, I'm going to go have an affair today. Or no, you can't, because even the decision, that thought is a thought. They didn't just wake up one day and they're in some other bed. Like, oh my gosh, here's the action. The action just happened. It just came up. No, there are actual thoughts that fed the decisions that created the action that creates those consequences. And it's the same way in your financial journey. You will either struggle or succeed. You will either scale and continue to scale, or you will scale and then plateau, depending on what your mind is willing to give you permission to create. And it's so interesting because we coach a lot of millionaires, and when they come to us, it's often because they understand this principle. They actually understand that I am only limited by what my mind allows me to believe and to receive. And so some of them, they've earned the millions of dollars, but their mind's belief is you need to work hard to make money. And because they believe that, they will strive and strive and strive and get very little reward for what they're doing. So guys, why am I saying all of this? Because you have to be willing to be honest with yourself about where you are right now in life, in terms of what are the actual patterns that are in your life that are feeding the results that you're seeing that you don't like. And when you get honest with yourself, you now also have to ask yourself, what are the conversations happening in my mind that are causing this problem for me right now? Because if you don't see what the problems are, if you don't see what your money mindset is, if you don't even know what your relationship with money is, how the heck can you fix it? You can't fix it because you can't fix what you don't see. What's the first thing when you call tech people to help you fix a problem? They say, what are you noticing? What did the error message say? If you don't know the error message, how can you Google the solution? I'm like going real deep in this tech thing and actually cracking myself up, right? But it's the truth. So you have to be able to realize areas in your life where you are currently guided by the mindsets, by the beliefs, by the principles of people who raised you, of circumstances you've seen, of teachers who have come before you, of people who have poured into you, and not just by your own beliefs and what you want in your life. You have to be able to decipher whose life am I currently living? And for many people, they're not living their own life. Many people are actually living the life of their parents' beliefs. They're living the life of their teachers. They're living the life of their current circle of friends. So whatever your current circle of friends thinks is normal, for example, I remember one woman saying to me, whoa, Toyin, my whole family believes that debt is normal. And because we all believe debt is not, like everybody has debt, it's normal. So when I talk about being debt free, they're all like, what's wrong with you? Like, debt's normal. Like, just manage the debt. You don't need to be debt free. Just learn to manage it. And it's like, if you don't understand this, if you don't see this, what ends up happening is you focus on strategy after strategy after strategy, thinking that if I change my pricing in my business, if I change my jobs, if I move cities, if I marry someone else, if I do this, if I do that, then I will fix the problem of my finances. But the problem is, everywhere you go, with all the changes you have made over your life, so many people tell me, Toyin, I'm doing a no spending challenge. I'm doing a new budget. I'm doing a new this. I'm doing a new that. And they're forgetting that wherever they go, there's one problem. They are there. They are the common denominator. They are the person. Your mind, you can't leave your mind behind until you make the decision to shift. Until you make the decision that I need to come face to face. I need to do the hard work of looking in the mirror to ask myself, what am I believing that's creating the very problem that I'm trying to get away from? And then when you see what is creating that, you make a decision to shift it. You make a decision to release it. You make a decision to pick up a new belief. And now, guys, let me just say this just right out the gate. We're going to go more into this throughout this season of the podcast. But I'm going to say this right out the gate, y'all. I am not talking about trying to change your mind by doing all these affirmations, because I know that there's a lot of people out there that will tell you, you just got to change, you need to change your mind. You need to believe something else. So start saying the new belief over and over and over again. And so you find a lot of people who want to earn $80,000 a month and they're earning, let's say, $40,000 a month. And so they start telling themselves, I earn $80,000 a month. I earn $80,000 a month. I earn $80,000 a month. And the problem with that is your brain will actually look at the reality and what you're saying, and it causes a cognitive dissonance. So it actually triggers the opposite conversation, because then your brain's like, hi, What are you like? Do you not see? Do you not see what's in front of you? You're actually at 40, blah, blah, blah. And your brain will actually start fighting against what you're saying because you haven't actually shifted the subconscious beliefs first. So yes, are you going to replace it with truth? Yes. Are you going to say, okay, this is what I want and this is where I'm going? Yes, 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 yes. But first, you have to learn how to shift those negative beliefs. You have to know what those negative beliefs are that have been playing in your mind. And then two, you have to actually shift it. And I want you guys to understand this. It is possible to change the way that you think. It is literally possible to go from believing very firmly one way and shifting to another. And I've seen this not just obviously in my own money mindset. All of you guys know, if you watched my intro podcast, when I came into this journey, I was afraid of talking about money. And now, who cares? Like, I don't even think about it. Or I'll give you guys another example. I used to be like the least knowledgeable person you could imagine when it came to social media marketing. Just absolutely behind everybody else. I didn't even know that what webinars did. And I remember I was one of the last people on Facebook, Instagram. Like, I did not understand any of it. But in a season where someone challenged me, because we have such good content, and I remember we had this event, and it was like an amazing, beautiful art show with spoken word and dance and like media entertainment. Like, there was just all these things in this one show we did. And our photographer, at the end of the show, we had like a visual art gallery that our team had painted. Like, we had music, all original stuff. Everything we did that night was original. Like a night like never before. And this dude is doing photos, and he comes to me at the end and he goes, Toyin, like, what I experienced tonight, I've never experienced anything like this in my life. Like, you guys touched every single sense, like visual, hearing, like he's like, this whole thing was this immersive experience, and it was free, and there's 50 people in the room. Like, he was just like, how are there only 50 people here? And I remember back then I told him, well, because we don't really understand marketing, and so I've just been praying for God to send us someone to do marketing for us. And we had been praying for God to send us someone to do marketing for like 3 years at that point. And this dude was just like, so you're telling me that because you're waiting for God to send you a marketer, you did all this and 50 people got to see it. And I remember back then he was like, look, I'll do y'all a favor. How about we do 3 social media understanding classes? Let me explain Facebook and Instagram to you guys in 3 short workshops for free. He was like, I'll just show you how these things work so that this never happens again. And we had the sessions. Most people didn't show up. I remember me, my hubby, somebody else showed up, and we learned. And today, like, I kill it on social media marketing. Like, I understand it. I can coach people on it. It's just like, let's go. Let's build. What do you want to do on here? Why? Because I made a decision that it was now valuable for me to understand something that overwhelmed me in the past. And now all of a sudden, I'm ahead of a lot of other people in understanding how these things work. And so why am I saying all of this? Because you are able to shift. You are able to not just identify the limiting beliefs that you have about money, but you can also make a decision about what you are going to do with those beliefs and with your life and with your wealth and actually create. And so now here is your activation point. I am giving y'all homework out of this session. What I want you to do is I want you to answer this question. 1, what are the beliefs that have been passed on to me about money from my upbringing, my environment, my current friendships, all the things that have been around me? And when you write that down, the next thing I want you to write down is, are these beliefs helping me or sabotaging me? And then when you've done that, if there's some of you guys where you see that there are these beliefs that you have had about money that have caused a limit, a ceiling, a plateau on what you are able to build to, on what you are able to receive, what you are able to scale, then I want to invite you guys to go ahead and book a call with our team. And so you are able to go to moneymindsetShift.ca/call. CALL. moneymindsetShift.ca/call. And we get to have a conversation about those limiting beliefs that have been holding you, seeing and clarifying what they are, showing you an exact strategy for shifting them, and how to actually now begin to implement those strategies that you already have been looking into to begin to leverage money to build wealth. I love this conversation, guys. I am so excited. Like every single episode, like I am on fire for them. And guys, just so you know, as of episode 9, so we're going to do one more foundational episode, next episode, which is episode 8. By episode 9, we are going to kick off a series that I have been bursting to share with you guys called The Irreplaceable Habits of Millionaires. And when we get to that series, we are going to be talking about some of the habits that I learned, specific habits, and I'm going to take them one by one that I learned from the hecto-millionaire mentors that I have run with and seen and learned from. So I'm going to be spending about 8 episodes from episode 9 on to share with you the 8 top habits I have noticed in the hecto-millionaires that have mentored me and helped me to accelerate my journey. And I know it's going to accelerate your journey as well. So why am I saying this? I'm saying this to say, guys, subscribe to the podcast. Hit the follow button. Hit the like button. Share this podcast with your friends, with your family, with the people that you know they need a new money mindset. They want to hit these goals and you want to be in their corner just like they're in your corner so that we all grow together. I became a millionaire in 3 years, and my biggest commitment has been I'm not going to do this alone. We're growing together. We're multiplying together. And so go ahead and be generous in sharing the information with someone else that you love. I'm going to see you guys this time next week, Wednesday. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. Bye-bye. Hey millionaires, thanks for tuning in to today's show. If you want to subscribe, there's a little picture of me right here. Click on that. And if you want to have a free financial breakthrough session with my team, then you can go on ahead and click on the button right here or visit moneymindsetShift.ca/call. I'll see you guys on the next show. Bye-bye.